Hello there. Today I'm going to talk about solving a linear equation. So we're going to solve linear equation. Okay. So before we go into solving linear equation, we first will try to understand what is solve, what is linear, and what is an equation. Okay, so the prerequisite of this class is that you know basic algebra, right? And from that we will try to understand what is linear, what is equation, and what is actually solving linear equation. So there you go. Right. So let's start with basic algebra. Right. So we have x is an unknown, right? And then, for example, we can have 2x. Yes, 2x, and then we can also have 2x minus 4, for example. Right. So is this an equation? It is not. So before we go into equation, this is just a basic expression with two terms. The first term is this, and the next term is this. So we call this as number term. And we have an unknown term. So unknown here is denoted by x, or we also call it as a variable. So this unknown term has two components, two parts. The first part is known as coefficient. Yeah. So we call this as coefficient. All right. So this is just with two expression without any equal sign. Yeah, without any equal sign. So when we add equals to something, for example 5, now we have an equation. So an equation basically means, of course, the first thing is we have equal sign. So that is how we get the word equation. So equation, we have an equal sign in the collection of expression of terms and of the unknowns and number terms. So we call it as an equation. Okay. So there we have equation. What is an equation? So now we will move into what is a linear equation. A linear equation simply means we have x, for example, unknown x, a power of 1. Normally we write it in the form of x, right? So linear equation has unknowns in the form of power of only 1. For example, this is a square root, so we can also write it as x power of 1 over 2, right? So this power is not equals to 1, so this is not linear. So other example will be x power of 2, which is also x times with x. It's also not linear. Other example, let's assume we have two unknowns. So one unknown we represent it as x, the other unknown we represent it as y. So x times y is also not linear. It can also be in the form of x divided by y. Again, this is not linear. So all these terms that in the form of unknowns, if it takes this form, then it is not linear. So what is linear? A linear equation simply means, for example, x plus 2 equals to 3. This is a linear equation because x takes the value, the highest degree of x is just 1. Yeah, the degree is just 1. So then we'll make an example of, let's say, 1 over x equals to 3. So this becomes not linear because we have the square root. Yeah, we have square root. Becomes non-linear. And let's take another example of x plus 3 equals to x squared. And again, can you guess whether it is linear or non? It is linear or not non-linear? Yes, good. So we have x power of 2, which is this form. So it is non-linear. So it is not a linear equation. And we have, let's say we have now two unknowns, and x plus y equals to 7. Is this linear or non-linear? Yes, it is linear because it is not together. X is not in the form of multiplication of y, another unknown. We cannot have one unknown times with another unknown, or one unknown divided by another unknown. It should be a separate. So this is linear. So another example, 2x plus xy is equal to 7. This one becomes non-linear because of this. You guessed it right. Okay. So now we know what is a linear equation. So now we will solve a linear equation. So what does solving a linear equation simply means? That is our next question, and we are going to answer for this. Okay. Solving linear equation. So let's write a linear equation for x minus 4 equals to, let's say, 7. Okay. Solving linear equation simply means we will do something. Okay, this is the left hand side, and this is the right hand side. In short, RHS. Yeah. So what we will do is actually we will end up transferring or simplifying in such a way. Finally, we have only x on right hand side and left hand side, and we have some numbers on right hand side. So we can guess from here what can be x which will satisfy this equation. Unknown, some number minus 4 equals to 7. What can be x? So, yes, correct. So x can be 11. Yeah. So we can check. We can put and verify. 11 minus 7 is 11 minus 4 is 7. You're right. So this is called a solution. A solution simply means a value for the unknown is, we find the value of the unknown where it satisfies the original equation. For example, here a linear equation. Okay, good. So now let's take a deep into solving different types of linear equations. Okay. The first type, there are a number of types. Basically, there are basically three types of linear equations. Yeah. The first one is just, okay, I'll write it here. The first one is just a mixture of x in the left hand side, on the left hand side, and also on the right hand side. It's a mixture where we mix with numbers and unknowns. So here we will try to solve just for one unknown, which is x. An example would be x plus 2 equals to 5x. Okay, 10x plus 2 equals to 5x plus 10. That's it. So we have a mixture of x here, a number on our left hand side, and x here and also number on our right hand side. So remember, we have to bring all the unknowns on the left hand side and leave all the numbers on the right hand side. So how do we do it? Whatever that we do on the left hand side, whether we add or we minus, we plus or we divide, we have to do on the right hand side as well. For example, here we can get rid of 2 or by just minus 2. So remember, if I minus 2 on the left hand side, I will do the same thing on the right hand side. So it becomes now 10x plus 2, the original one. So we minus 2, and we need to do the same thing for the right hand side. It's 5x plus 10, so we minus 2. Now we can simplify, it becomes 10x equals to 5x. This we have to do, simplify as well, so it becomes 8. So there you have it. So now we have number on our right hand side, but at the same time we have unknown as well. So we have to, as though we have to bring it to the left. So what we need to do, we need to add. Sorry, we need to minus 5x here, right? So what will happen now is that whatever we do on the right, it will happen on the left as well. So 10x, yeah, minus 5x equals to 5x plus 8 minus 5x. So this 5x will cancel off with this 5x. We are left with, again, on the left hand side, you can even simplify further. 10 minus 5 is equal to 5x equals to 8. So we have reached this point now where only unknown on the left and number on the right. So now we need to further just get x. So in order to do that, we have to divide this with 5, and we have to divide as well with 5 on the right. So we get that. So finally, the solution is x equals to 8 over 5. So that is our solution. Of course, we can always check whether this is the right solution or not by putting in here. So let's verify. 10, x is now 8 over 5. We do on the left hand side first. Yeah. Plus 2, right? This is the left hand side expression, so plus 2. So what do we get? So then this we can simplify. We get 2 here, yeah. So 8 times 2 is 16 plus 2, right? Then we get 18. Let's check on the right hand side now. So right hand side we have 5, 8 over 5, that is the solution. We replace the x plus 10. So again, so we get 18. So as you can see, whatever left hand side equals to 18, right hand side equals to 18 as well. So this verifies that our answer is correct. Let's move to type 2. This is called the mixture type, where we have unknowns on the left and the right, numbers on the left and the right, and then we just move or transfer them to one side, unknowns on one side, numbers on the other side. So another type would be type B, yeah, with bracket or parentheses, yeah, brackets. So when you see brackets in a linear equation, the first thing how to solve is that you have to get rid of brackets. Example, 2x plus 1 times 5 equals to 3, as simple as that. Okay. Now I see bracket. When you see bracket, the first thing is that you get rid of bracket by expanding it. So expanding this whole term here. So you times in 5 times 2, we get 10x plus 5 equals to 3. So now it is the usual mixture form. Yeah. So we have this side here, we have unknown expression, unknown term, and also we have number term. So all we need to do is that get rid of number 5 on our left hand side. So what we do is that we minus 5, so it becomes 10 plus 5, the original expression minus 5 equals to 3 minus 5. There you go. So these two cancel each other, and we can simplify this. We have now just minus 2 here. So what we are left with 10x plus 2. And again, we want to get rid of 10 here. All we need to do is we divide by 10. So when I divide by 10, I left divide by 10. So 10x divided by 10 equals to minus 2 divided by 10. So I have x equals to 1/5. There you go. This is the solution. Right. Of course, we can always take 1/5 and put it here, simplify, and you'll exactly get 3. Okay, there you go. This is the second form. And the third form involves fraction. The third form of solving linear equation involves fraction. Let's look at an example. X over 2 equals to 5 minus 5 minus 3x, for example. Okay, there you go. So now you see there is a fraction. So we have a fraction here. So again, just like what we did in bracket, we need to get rid of fraction. How do you do that? So this is just basically x divided by 2. In order to remove this, we just have to times with 2. So what we do, we multiply with 2. Yeah. So when I multiply with 2, what I get is that x divided by 2. Now I multiply by 2. And I have to do the same thing on my right. 5 minus 3x multiply by 2. Okay, so there you go. So we can, these two numbers cancel each other. We are left with x equals to. So again, this goes to the bracket case where we have a bracket here. So we have to remove the bracket, get rid of the bracket by expanding it. So there we go. So 5 times 2 equals to 10, and 3 times 2 equals to 6x. Are we done? Not yet. So this is now in the form of mixture form here. So we have 6 here. We have to get rid of 6 so that everything is accumulated on my left. All the unknowns accumulated on my left. So how do I do it? Is that I plus with 6x. Right, so what will happen is that x plus with 6x equals to 10 plus, it becomes just 10. This two terms will cancel off each other. So this is what I'm left with. I can further simplify on my left. I get x6 plus 6x plus x equals to 7x equals to 10. So there you go. So what we do, again, this is we have 7 times x, so we have to divide 7. So we get x equals to 10 over 7. There you go. This is the solution. So we are done with mixture type, we have done with bracket type, and also we have done with fraction type. So now you are ready to understand or to get to know the general step of solving a linear equation. There are only 5 steps of solving a general equation. The first step, step 1, is get rid of fraction. Step 2, get rid of brackets. Step 3, we reduce it, or we bring all the unknowns to one side. So let's assume unknowns x goes to, okay, I'll just write it this form. Left hand side are unknowns, right hand side are numbers. So what we do is we do collections of unknowns on my left, numbers on my right. Okay. And the fourth step is that you have one, this is like in the form of mixture, right? And then you have as simple as A x equals to B. You have this form. And if you still remember the last few steps, that the last few examples that we did, we end up with this example in this form actually. So this, the fourth would be to reduce to this, yeah, reduce to this form. So I should just rewrite it, reduce to ax equals to b. So since we have that, the final step would be to divide by example A here, such a way that you get x equal to some number. So there you go, that is the solution. So you have 5 steps in order to solve a linear equation. These are the general 5 steps. Step 1, get rid of fractions. Step 2, get rid of brackets. And step 3, you collect all the unknowns on one side, for example your left hand side, and collect all the numbers on the right hand side. Then you can reduce by reaching at step 3, it will be the form mixture, and if you reduce, you can now reduce to this form ax plus b. Yeah, a representing some number and b representing some number as well. So finally you can divide this equation here by a, thus you have finally reached to a solution where x equals to some number. So there you go. So what you have learned today is that first you learn what is an equation, and then you learn what is a linear equation, and finally you learn 5 steps of solving a linear equations. That's it. So now you can do exercise. I'll walk around and see how you can solve it. If you have any problems, then I will be able to help you. Thank you.